Welcome to Smart Living. I'm excited to have Kimberly Yee on, who is our state treasurer, to talk about ways that we can save money. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. We are in a very interesting time in our country, and a lot of changes are happening very quickly and very rapidly, regardless of what side of the fence you want to be on. I know for me, these amount of changes are very uncomfortable, and I can kind of see little subtle changes shifting in the economy. So we're here to talk primarily about the 529 college savings plan because these are some of the things that you do. You manage money and figure out ways to save. But I want to talk about like this little unrest in terms of the economy and, what we can do, what things we may be looking for, and how we can continue to save for education for our children.
Exactly. Well, it is. It's a time where even daily, you read the news in the morning, you're not sure what's going to happen in the afternoon.
I mean,
So
like
you're
legit.
absolutely right in terms of the changing environment we're in, especially when we're talking about the economy. And all of us are consumers,
Mhm.
and it affects us in our households, in our daily decisions that we have to make about our budgets, where we want to go in the summer. Are we going to take a trip this year or not? All of those things are real questions. And so, as the state treasurer of Arizona, I manage $64.7 billion in the cash flow that goes in and out of our office to the various entities from the state, to the locals, to the school districts. And so, the conversation about where our economy is and forecasting what that looks like is critical. And so, where we are today is, a place where we don't know what that future is going to look like because we've just had a change in the administration. Policies will continue to look differently than what we would have known maybe 4 years ago. And all of that will change the pricing and everything that we know. There is not one real answer today. But what I do know is that there will be a continued inflation, a volatile type of market that we see.
Mhm.
The market volatility doesn't change overnight. The inflationary factors are right there, as you can see it on the price of eggs,
Yep.
and obviously the price of gas for your car, utility prices. I mean, all of that kind of comes together, and it can be very scary for a consumer, especially one with families and just trying to make ends meet. So my job as the treasurer is to try to just put information out there,
Okay.
not only for individuals but for families. And I try to educate young children about being smart about money management because they're going to be adults one day making very critical decisions about how they manage their money.
Mhm.
So with all of that, as the treasurer, I talk to kids about saving, spending wisely, even putting that money in a way to share to those who are in need. And those concepts are real. But to give that to them in a way that is understandable, relatable to children, where they can embrace it and make it fun, is really what I love to do. And the Arizona 529 plan is for that family. It's for every family to really consider, what is my child going to do when they grow up?
Mhm.
And how are we as parents supposed to pave that way? Helping them understand that it's kind of a family decision to really put that money aside, no matter how much money that is. It could look very different family to family. But if you don't, you might find yourself in a place where the opportunity isn't there because it was missed. We didn't put any money aside.
Okay, so you're saying no matter what, no matter how volatile the world is or the economy is, you're saying put money away.
That's the safest thing to do. And sometimes people call it a rainy day fund. A rainy day fund is there in case you have that emergency need.
Mhm.
And it's always a safe way to really put your money aside. If you don't need every single dollar of your paycheck and you can put a certain amount in the bank with savings, it collects interest over time with compound interest. And so that's going to help you along the way if that emergency comes up. Well, in the same way, if your child is going to have a higher education opportunity in the future, say it's going to be college, maybe it's vocational school, maybe it's a training program for workforce skills, there's going to be a little money involved. And it's an important opportunity for them to be skilled. So families can start thinking about that as early as birth. And even if it's $15 a month that is in their budget, that is set aside with interest, and the family is going to get a tax deduction every single year.
True, but let me ask you a
Mhm.
question, and please educate me on this.
Sure.
But when the economy isn't doing well, often the interest rates on what you can get yielding is very, very low. So wouldn't it be advisable maybe put your money like someplace else? I mean, so that, those are some of the things that are kind of going through my mind as you're talking, because I'm like, yeah, in a stable market, like I remember, just a year ago, I could get, 5% on my savings
Right.
account at like an account from SoFi. But now that's slowly gone down. I think it's now at 2.79% on that.
Yes.
So I'm looking at high yield savings, accounts. I also have my money in the stock market too, but that's a whole nother, that's a whole nother conversation. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, so knowing that we're going to probably come across some rough times,
Right.
financial, we need to kind of bring in our money, so
I
where?
always hear the stories of the parent who has that exact same thought in their head, but then they end up not ever opening an account because there's always going to be something. And if they don't open that account at that moment, they will probably never open that account, which means they won't really have a mechanism for saving at any point in time when you have a few extra funds in the bank. And when you open it, it's almost like getting a gym membership, right? Once you have the membership, once you have that account open, you kind of feel an obligation to put money into it and to actually go to the gym and work out.
To
Well,
an extent.
I
It
mean,
depends on the
same way,
individual.
you would want, if you open that savings account, the 529 plan for so your child or your grandchild's education experience, you have now kind of created the pathway. There's no requirement that you have to put any amount in per month. That's up to you. And
Right.
it's based on your flows on your budget.
Right.
But opening that account is that first step, and it doesn't cost anything. You just have to put initial amount.
And it's tax deductible as you put it in?
Yes, as you put your money in, you can get $2,000 per person every year, up to.
Tax credit?
If you are married and you file jointly, it's $4,000.
Okay.
And you can have 5 kids in your family, and you get that amount per kid.
And that's a tax credit?
It's a tax deduction.
Tax deduction.
There's
Sorry,
a
thank you for the
difference,
yes, there is a big difference there.
It also grows tax free.
Okay.
And it can be used for tuition, for
Got it.
technology. It could be used for so many different things, books, all of that can be for so many opportunities.
So when you pull it out, you're not paying taxes on
That's
that money.
right.
And that's the key factor there.
It is.
Now, the money through our state 529 plan, where's that money invested in, and what's the return on that investment?
Well, there are different opportunities
Okay.
for a family to make that decision
Okay.
because we have what we call vendors, Fidelity, Goldman Sachs, others are in that marketplace, and they can choose based on their comfort level. So if they're
Okay.
a sophisticated investment family, they can choose one plan versus one who is just starting this. They only know the basics. Let's get a very basic plan for them.
Okay.
And that really is for them to choose. And in terms of interest rates, it goes up and down, and it's based on market, the market. So we can't guarantee necessarily what it's going to look like. Then it's also based on the funds in that plan.
Okay.
And it certainly is based on over the period of time that you have had your account. So I always say, open that account. If a child is born, that's the perfect time.
Yeah.
But it's never too early and it's never too late.
Perfect. And I agree with you 100% on that. That's great advice. Never too late to save. But with that being said, on the 529, this might be a subjective question, but can you lose money on that?
No,
Okay.
I don't believe so. It really is. I mean, obviously you can say, oh, I lost because I
still an
didn't put
investment.
it in a different type of account.
Okay.
And if you compare those two, of course,
Okay.
you could say that you lost money because you didn't put it in an opportunity that increased
Right.
more. But in this type of savings plan, it is so easy to understand for any basic, saver. The first thing that I always recommend is put aside the amount of money that you believe is a monthly amount. Because that can automatically be deducted from your paycheck, and you won't even really know at that point
True.
because you won't have ever touched it.
Right.
And that is a number that probably should be, again, kind of the surplus amount that you wouldn't have needed.
Right.
Then beyond that, if you can increase that amount over time, maybe you get a raise, or maybe there's an obligation that you no longer have
Right.
financially,
Just throw it
you
in
can
there.
put a little bit more money in.
Right.
Also, others can put money in. So it doesn't have to be your own obligation for this fund. You can ask the grandparents of that child. You can ask an aunt or an uncle of that child.
What's
your
the incentive,
friends.
financial incentive for them
The
to do that?
tax deduction.
Okay.
Anybody can get
$2,000.
that tax deduction.
Up to $2,000 for the 529 state plan.
Yes.
Okay,
As
got
an
it.
individual or a married couple, 4,000.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So now where can people find out information on that?
az529.gov is
Okay.
our website, and we, as I was sharing, have this amazing opportunity for kids to
Right.
really engage.
I was going to say that. So I hear that there's a little art thing going on for that. Tell me about this.
Well, we really want to bring kids into this conversation. So we ask them the question, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, every kid's going to have an answer for you, but we want them to draw it on paper. They can use crayons, markers.
Oh my God, what about if they say they're a
paint.
content creator?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, what are you going to do with that? How do you draw that? Sorry.
Exactly.
I just laugh. Anyway, that's
As
my
creative
thing.
as they can be.
Right, there you go.
And it is a contest to engage K through sixth graders statewide on what they want to be when they grow up. They draw it on paper, they submit it by March 9th, and we will select 15 winners to receive $529 towards their AZ 529 plan.
Okay, so they have to submit it by this March 9th. And today we're recording this on February 28th. So I probably need to get this up sooner than later. Okay.
And, if they miss it for whatever reason, we have contests around the entire calendar. So if they miss this one, we're going to have an essay contest in the fall. We engage all 15 counties in the state because we have 15 beautiful counties. We will guarantee a winner in every one of the counties. And we really want to celebrate that there are kids from district schools, charter schools, private schools, tribal schools, even homeschoolers. They have an opportunity to win these wonderful awards. Now, what I love about it is that we give them this gigantic check that says $529. It's huge. It's even bigger than some of these kids.
Right, I'm sure.
And they can come to the state capitol and receive that award with their families and their schools. And so we will have that at the end of March.
That is great. Well, that's good information. So, Kimberly, I can go on and on and on. I can really take this conversation in a different direction, but we will leave it with the Arizona 529 College Savings Plan. So I appreciate you coming in, sharing with us and parents who are saving to encourage us to save. And we'll leave it at that.
Great.
So
Thank
thanks
you for having me.
No problem. And if you guys want to get more information on all the things you mentioned and where you want to access the 529 plan for our state, just head to my blog at smartshopperdaphne.com. And don't forget, as always, I'm Daphne Monroe, your smart shopper.